All right, the Reds, it's the post-match pint from Hotel Tia. Liverpool are out of the League Cup. They lost 2-1 to Chelsea at Anfield, having taken the lead. It's disappointing. Let's not polish the turd. Let's not say all this bollocks about this is the cup that we're not asked about and all that kind of thing. Right now, in the pub with a pint, I'm disappointed. Mo Stewart's disappointed. Fuad Hassan's disappointed. So where do we start? First half, Chelsea have loads of the ball. We're a bit weird.
It's just a bit of a mess, wasn't it?
It was a bit of a mess.
Like, I mean, no one really seemed to know where anyone else was going to be, and it was so stark because that's been the complete opposite of what we've seen so far this season. Now, obviously, regarding the defence, we know what they're like. They're not very good on the ball, basically. And Chelsea knew what they were like, and so it just was like, fair enough, you lads have it over there. We know you're not going to harm us. And that's exactly what happened. And then when Chelsea got the ball, there just didn't seem to be that same intensity in getting towards them. I mean, like, we
Moreno.
know what... Yeah.
Moreno.
I mean, we need a separate chapter on Albi, bless him, because I literally said on Talking Roads this morning that we can trust him for one game. I wouldn't trust him for 6 in a row. I was wrong, everybody. I apologise.
Take it back, Mo.
I take it back. When Victor Moses has you on toast, you know it might be time to kind of turn it in.
But also when you don't learn from that though, as you say, it's like, you know, there was people screaming at him in the cop, and I know that's not particularly productive at times, but they're going, Albi, you're leaving him loads of space there, lad. Like, or literally, where are you, Albi? Where are you? I mean, you know, if there's something we can take out of the game, it's that Robertson's even better than we thought he was before. Yeah. Henderson's even better than we thought he was before. You know what I mean? There's people who've had their reputation boosted by almost not playing. I know Henderson comes on.
Yeah, exactly. I think both fullbacks, you could say the same thing. Yep. The level with them, with our two preferred.
Klein's not comfortable in the final.
No, he's not. And I think with Albi as well, I don't know who's taught him how to tackle, because these mad swings of legs, and he gets too tight to his man. I mean, Moses just these little simple touches round the corner of him, and he was past him. And you know, we haven't seen that with Robertson and Trent really being solid and knowing how to line up against, well, somewhat tricky wingers. I wouldn't call Moses anywhere near the class of
like 4 times.
Just outside the foot and tapping it around.
Honestly, it's so weird because they are so diametrically opposed to fullbacks. It's like having Animal from the Muppets on one side and Ned Flanders on the other side, and they need to be kind of halfway houses. And yeah, I think because we've moved on from them, it was quite a culture shock to see them all back together. Because I still believe that. I mean, Matip in particular, I thought he was the best of a bad bunch. Obviously, Lovren's first game.
Some balls though from him.
He's under hits 80% of the passes he's ever made.
Yeah, I think he kicks the ball weird. Honestly, it's like his technique for hitting the ball is a bit movement. Yeah, it's just a bit weird.
Yeah, but I mean, like when you're all together, it doesn't work. But if you put one of them in with the rest of the good lads, I reckon we can still get some performance.
Yeah, I think that's the point, isn't it? That there were so many changes. It was always going to be disjointed. It was disjointed. I think if you're looking for someone who's maybe played well both halves, because second half there was a big improvement, I thought, from Liverpool. Maybe Naby?
Yeah, I'd even put Shaqiri under that.
Yeah.
I thought he was brilliant throughout the game.
Yeah.
At times he was sort of looking at his fullback to say, come on, I've just skilled 2 people and you're still not giving me a good option there or something. I just think it was disjointed. I mean, you got Fabinho coming in at the base of the midfield,
finally making his debut.
Yeah, finally making his debut, and you could see it took him a bit of time to get going as well. I thought second half he stepped up really well. But in the first half, I mean, Chelsea had a lot of joy just playing that ball straight down to Morata through the middle, and that comes from the back four and midfield not having that relationship as we've seen in the last few games. So I think the changes we made, the slow start sort of expected, but you would have thought that there'd been a little bit more urgency in that first 20 minutes or so. And I think straight from kickoff, Chelsea got a cross in,
Yeah, they were straight at us.
And if you start the game like that, then, it's in your head a little
What
bit.
did you make of Fabinho? Obviously, it's going to be a talking point. It was his debut.
Again, I thought he did grow into it a little bit. There was a little bit of...
It looked like he wanted a bit too much time at times.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. It's like he doesn't quite used to the pace of the game. But to be honest, a little bit of that I put on Milner. I think Milner was compromised by his early yellow big time.
Yeah.
And there were quite a few times where he wasn't able to affect the game because he didn't.
Well, the ref was a bell end. I mean,
yeah.
if you listen to anything hosted by Neil Atkinson, he won't talk about refs, but I'm Gareth Roberts, and I'll call the referee a bell end.
I'm not normally one for refs, but I must admit I did spend most of the first half trying to work out who it was, so I can kind of...
Friend, wasn't it?
Yeah, no friend of mine.
It was 5-1 on yellows at one point, because I was counting them. I was like, you're just giving them out to Liverpool. And like, honestly, there was like, there was obviously, Matip's is obviously a yellow, for instance.
Yeah.
And you're fine with it. You're like, he's just took a yellow. But then the same thing happened. Chelsea did the same thing, and he's just like...
There was no parity whatsoever.
And
it was winding me up so much. But the weird thing is that every time the ref did something stupid, it wound the crowd up, and then it gave them an extra 5% on the pitch. And it kind of annoyed me a little bit, because it's like, come on guys, you don't need that to do that. But it seemed to kind of snowball a little bit towards the end of the first half. But again, I think a lot of the problem, going back to Fabinho, is that he would make a good tackle, but the others wouldn't know where he was going to be, so the ball would just go to a Chelsea player. So there wasn't that joined up thinking in as much as you're used to how someone tackles, and therefore where to anticipate the ball going if they don't keep it, and just little things like that take time. And they were all really obvious.
It's all around the pitch, isn't it? It was just a bit weird. I think it's really underlined how good the first 11 is, and how disciplined they've been, and how well they've been playing, and how much they've controlled matches. Because at no point did Liverpool control that.
No.
They were better second half. Sturridge has that early chance second half, which he should score. I don't really know what's going on there. Scores an absolute belter instead. So fair play to him. But there wasn't control, was there, at any point? It was like the old Liverpool, that wasn't it? It was 2016 defence.
Yeah, it literally was, wasn't it? That's the first thing I noticed. I looked at it and say, oh, we're back with these again. Yeah. We've just seen the back four in the last few games, absolutely boss games, and now we're back with these lads. But yeah, I think, who would have thought you taking Gini Wijnaldum out the team and players like that, and it would make such a big impact. You see the balance when these lads are in, and how that midfield three is so in sync usually. And I think that's huge with this system. The midfield has to be completely on it. Every single one of them has to be completely on it, because they rely on each other so much. I think you see with Henderson, if he's playing in the number 6 role, there's that kind of understanding. When he goes, someone else kind of fills in, and they're very fluid, and that's how we get the best out of our pressing and on the ball as well. So yeah, it was a bit weird, and I think if we can kind of brush this one aside, use it for Saturday, and just really kind of push and get a good start early on there, we can just get on with it and get on with it. And you're not going
to have Albi Moreno in the side. You're not going to have Simon Mignolet in the side. I know people like get a cob on when you slaughter the goalkeeper and all that, but I mean, that thing where Morata's getting the ball and he's bringing it down in the box, and you're like, just go out. And he goes so far and goes, oh, hang on, this is too far out for me. I'm just going to stop here and go like this and go have a shot, lads. And it was like, keep going. What have you stopped for? He's a mad goalie. I haven't missed him.
No, I mean, I think the strange thing about it is that obviously this means we're probably not going to see him till January. So that's at least one good thing about it. But I made a point again this morning on Talking Reds that the motivation for this second team should be to get more minutes, because this is their competition. And exactly the same thing happened last season, and Danny Ward in particular ended up suffering from it. Didn't get a game, ended up being shipped out. I dare say that the same could end up happening to one or two of the team from today.
And you look on paper as well. On paper, before the game, you look at it and you go, wow, this is our second string 11 now. The names you see there, you're sort of thinking, look how far we've come from the benches we've seen in the last couple of years. So then you've got to then take into consideration that these haven't played together, that they're not used to each other in this system, and how far ahead our first team has been. There's obviously going to be that gap. But yeah, like you're saying, this was their real chance to stake a claim, and I'd say some of them did, but it wasn't to the level, I think.
Who do you think did then, lads?
I liked the way Shaqiri played. I think that he did a very good job of winning the ball back a lot. I think there were times where he took the right decision but just didn't do it well enough. And that was a little bit of the story of our whole attack, to be honest.
Is he doing the thing where, and I've heard people say this before about new signings, almost doing the thing where he's trying too hard though? Do you know what I mean? Like he has that shot, doesn't he, where he could have played Sturridge in, and he's so gutted about it afterwards, isn't he? Like he does the apologetic wave, but then I was watching him after that, and he's running, and he's going, oh, no,
but because he hasn't done that a lot, and I mean that was one of his trademarks at Stoke, and I think you're right. I think it's trying to say, look, I'm more of a team player. This guy, I'm not going to take random wild shots from 35 yards out. And the thing is, though, he's actually quite good at that. Like, I mean, sometimes he might need to take it. Like that free kick right at the end of injury time, I was like, if he takes the shot here, I'm not really that upset about it.
It's a bit weird, that, wasn't it? Like Mignolet coming up and all that. I was like, I was like that. I was like, I'd rather you just had the shot. You're going to fuck this up, and then they fucked it up. And it was like, But I mean, I think what we've got to say before we go on this is that we like it's not baby out with the bathwater and all that, is it? It is the League Cup. There was loads of changes. And let's be honest, if we go to Stamford Bridge on Saturday and win,
we've got a really good chance to put it to bed early. And one of the things I liked about us last season, we were always very good after a defeat. Whether or not we never lost 2 games in a row. We was always either winning or we were at least getting a good performance out of us. So I suspect the team for Saturday is already chosen. I think it was chosen before today. So to a certain extent, the guys who know what they're going to have to do are going to be working hard at it. I'd like to think that the changes we make back to the team we had should see an improvement in performance.
I mean, these lads are now experienced enough to bounce back from these situations, and we're no longer talking about a team that's completely young and inexperienced and all this is new to them. They've had a season or two of experiencing defeats and setbacks, and being able to bounce back straight away is a big trait of a title-winning side or a successful side, because games come thick and fast, and there's no, with the teams we're competing with now and for the league and for top 4 even, you can't kind of fall back 2-3 games and have a run of kind of defeats and draws. So if they can really go in early, and I really think that Jurgen and just generally the lads generally, you could see they were gutted at the end. The reaction in the ground was fairly positive. It wasn't sort of, oh, we've blown it or anything like that. There's none of that same old Liverpool about it, I don't think, especially the mood afterwards.
We need to do something about Hazard, though.
Exactly, like
Big
get close
time.
to them.
Why is he still playing for them?
Not let him meg everyone.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
Good goal, like.
That lad absolutely loves Anfield, doesn't he? Every time he comes here, he leaves us a little present. And I mean, I'm flattered, but don't bother next time, please.
They didn't have anything really before he came on. It wasn't really much of a threat. And
he raised the level. I mean, it was one of those situations where sometimes you see like a friendly game, and then there's one guy who comes on and it's like, okay, well, he's obviously trying, and no one else was. It was literally night and day when you saw the sharpness he had about it. As soon as he came in, he played, I think it was a wall pass off Morata, and did a little dink on the edge of the area, and I was just like, oh,
he loves it, doesn't he? He loves
Here we
go.
Yeah. And fair play to the lad. The winning goal was absolutely really good. I mean, it seemed a little bit harsh to do that one final trick on Moreno, but it was a quality goal from a quality player, and sometimes you got to expect those. But we should have had at least a couple more before we got to that stage.
Well, the first 11 will be back on Saturday against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. Before we go, I just wanted to say quickly that we've had some sad news in that Mick Woodburn, who was only 29 years old, has sadly passed away. The circumstances around that are very tragic. He's only 29 years old. He's a well-known Red in the city. I've only met him a couple of times when I was on a tour in America over the summer, but he's big friends with John Gibbons, who you all will know from the Anfield Wrap, and John's friends. He's currently his body is currently in Norway, and basically his family need to get him back and need to organise the funeral. It's obviously come as a great shock to everyone. There is a GoFundMe page being set up to try and help out his family, because it's an awful lot of money that they need to raise to get him back here. As I say, he is a Red, he's well known, he's someone who went home and away watching Liverpool. It is really sad what's happened, and in hotels here tonight I know that there have been a lot of people here, including his mum. They've persuaded his mum to come to a match finally. Mick could never do that, but she thought it was right and fitting that she came tonight. If you can help out, both me on my own Twitter page and the Anfield Wrap on their Twitter page have retweeted this GoFundMe link. So if you're watching this and you want to help out his family, go and find that on Twitter. We'll be talking about this a lot more, no doubt, across videos and podcasts and everything else. But if you can help out Mick's family right now, they could really do with it. And, you know, let's get him back to England and let's get him, you know, rest in peace, Mick. So really sad news. Sorry to end the video that way, but it had to be said because, as I say, a lot of people are upset about that right now. So that's been the post-match pint.